Mia truly was a master dog trainer. When the wealthy Shen family couple came to the Welfare Institute to adopt, I was sitting on the ground, training dogs. I was already 17, no one wanted to adopt me anymore. But they approached me, pointed, and excitedly exclaimed, "This is her." As I wondered why, a string of comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. The two young masters of the house are constantly fighting. Their parents, at their wits' end, decided to adopt a supporting character, hoping she would divert their attention. Poor supporting character, she thinks she's found a home, but instead, she's walking right into the young master's bullying. The two young masters even made a bet to see who could conquer her first. The supporting character, unaware she's being played, ultimately meets a tragic end. Though the comments were full of lament, I enthusiastically cracked the whip in my hand. All the dogs within 10 miles were already trained. I was worried I wouldn't find new ones. Now this is perfect. To live, pray, delivered right to my doorstep. I am Mia Ding from the Welfare Institute. I was 17 years old and still hadn't been adopted. In truth, when I was younger, many people wanted to adopt me. I was adopted a total of 6 times. The first time, my adoptive parents praised my cuteness and promised to raise me as a young lady. However, less than 3 days later, they returned me. It was because they saw me chaining my adoptive brother with a dog leash, and he didn't resist. In fact, he happily crawled on his hands and knees at my feet. The second time, my adoption lasted a bit longer, exactly 10 days. Everything was fine, but my adoptive younger brother was annoying. He kept calling me Master, which made me angry enough to slap him. And then he asked if my hand hurt. My adoptive parents couldn't stand it and returned me. The third time, the adoptive parents had no other children. But at a family party, my cousins and other relatives kept pulling each other to pour tea and serve me water, even imitating dog barks to amuse me. The barks echoed everywhere. So, I was returned 4 more times. As I grew older, I lost hope of ever being adopted. Every day, I just wandered around the Welfare Institute, looking for stray dogs, diligently training them to be obedient and well-behaved. I had trained almost all the dogs within a 10-mile radius. I was worrying about which one to train next when suddenly, that string of comments appeared before me. The supporting character. This couple isn't actually kind-hearted people wanting to adopt you. They just want to find some amusement to divert attention from their 2 young masters. They will pretend to love you, wait until you're deeply infatuated, then post your private photos on the school bulletin board, causing you to lose all honor and commit suicide. Those 2 young masters are born arrogant, not to be trifled with. Supporting character, you must refuse immediately. But I gripped the small whip in my hand, finding myself more and more intrigued. Training dogs wasn't as fun as training humans. Just when I was worried about having no subjects to train, now I had 2. How wonderful. After joining the prestigious family, I gained 2 older brothers. One was the true young master, Vincent Shen, and the other was the fake young master, Asher. 3 years ago, their adoptive parents discovered they had accidentally taken home the wrong baby, but out of deep affection, they decided to raise both. However, Vincent and Asher didn't get along, constantly bickering. Sometimes there was a war within 3 days and continuous fighting within 10. Their adoptive parents couldn't bear the situation, so they decided to adopt me. Sure enough, my presence immediately drew the attention of the 2 young masters. They set aside their previous animosity to plot how to get rid of me. Asher suggested, "Let's just say she seduced me, then show Mom and Dad the evidence. They wouldn't want to lose face, so they'd definitely kick her out." Vincent smiled coldly. "Seduce you? Are you too confident to think she'd like you?" "What? If she doesn't like me, she'll definitely like you then," Asher challenged. "Let's bet to see who can make her fall for them first. The bet is the mansion in the suburbs." "All right," Vincent casually agreed, his tone light. Through the comments, I knew their bet had begun. That evening, as I was arranging my clothes, a box on top of the wardrobe suddenly fell. Just as it was about to hit me, Asher surprisingly rushed over, quickly pulling me into his arms. He was close to me, his firm chest pressing against mine, as he solicitously asked if I was okay. Haha, the all-too-familiar hero saves the beauty trick. But I managed to conjure a frightened, deer-in-headlights expression, still looking at him with fear and gently nodding. "Thank you, Brother Asher." Then I lightly touched his arm with my index finger, my face flushed, and asked, Are these mussels as rumored, sir? A diversion tactic needs a little sweetness first. Asher was clearly very pleased. Though he tried to suppress it, obvious smugness crept into his voice. That's right, I'm the captain of the school basketball team, training all year round, so of course I have muscles. I looked at him with admiration, not forgetting to praise him while subtly disparaging the other. I don't think Brother Vincent has muscles, but you truly are strong. Asher's chin lifted higher. He softly asked me, Mia, do you like muscles? I pretended to be shy and didn't say anything, but my cheeks were flushed. Asher leaned in slightly, suddenly lifting the hem of his shirt. Then, want to take a peek? I immediately closed my eyes. This is too embarrassing. Mia, we're family. What's wrong with a little peek? He whispered in a husky voice. In reality, I had seen many muscular men in movies, but this was my first time seeing one so close. Asher had a handsome, striking face, thick eyelashes like small fans, his teeth biting his shirt hem, veins prominent on his neck. Honestly, it was a magnificent sight for a woman. I bravely touched him lightly. Without waiting for his reaction, I turned and ran away. From then on, Asher seemed to have found my weakness. Every afternoon after basketball practice, he would call me to watch. Training a dog requires satisfying its pride. I never missed a session, cheering him on and bringing him water. Sure enough, the poor supporting character quickly became infatuated, just like in the story. Poor supporting character, manipulated by men. Oh, I truly am pitiful. My reaction pleased Asher greatly. Before long, he posted on social media. I thought fishing required a lot of effort, but who knew you just had to cast the bait randomly to get a bite? Very good. This dog already feels certain he's going to win. Now, it's time for the next stage. Attack when the dog thinks it's in control. From that day, I feigned being busy with studies and no longer went to watch Asher play basketball. Whenever we met at home, no matter how provocatively he dressed, I would just walk past as if I hadn't seen him. It would take an hour for me to reply to his messages. When he started to get suspicious, I promptly sent him a mirror selfie. In the photo, I was wearing a new dress, smiling sweetly at the camera. Seeing, opponent is typing. In the chat box, I knew Asher had seen it. So I quickly pressed, recall. Asher, Mia, why did you recall it? Brother Asher, I sent it by accident. It was meant for Brother Vincent. Please pretend you didn't see anything. After 3 seconds of silence, Asher sent me a flurry of messages. Why are you sending selfies to Vincent Shen? Mia, bye, you need to explain this clearly to me. Wait, why did you send it to him? Since when did you two get close? You've never sent me one. Oh, the dog is starting to panic, but I didn't reply to his messages. Instead, I opened the chat box with Vincent. He invited me to the library to study together tonight. Yes, brother, we won't come home until we meet. Vincent was clearly unlike Asher. He was very patient, helping me review my lessons and familiarize myself with the family situation. He even gently told me, Mia, 3 years ago, when I came home, I was as confused as you. But don't worry, I'll help you integrate into this family as quickly as possible. If I hadn't known about their bet, I would have thought he was just a kind, older brother. Just like now, in the library on the outside, he was attentively lecturing me, but his thumb lightly grazed the back of my hand. His long legs seemed to have nowhere to rest, constantly pressing closer to me. I played the role of someone innocently oblivious, focusing solely on listening to his lecture. As the library was about to close, I quietly placed a square box in front of him. Vincent seemed surprised. What's this? I smiled at him and told him to open it. The box was opened, and inside was a small, delicate fruit cake. How did the supporting character know Vincent Shen's birthday was today? Vincent Shen has never celebrated his birthday. When he was young in his adoptive home, he suffered greatly. And when he returned to the Shen family, his parents were busy making a living and had no time for him. This is the first time anyone has celebrated his birthday. I pulled him, still bewildered, to the small forest behind the library. Placing the cake on a rock and lighting the candles, I waved him over. Why are you standing there sulking? Hurry up and make a wish. He felt confused after making his wish, looking at me with a bewildered expression. How did you know today was my birthday? Of course, the comments told me the story. I made up a simple reason, deciding to take this opportunity to share with him. I sighed softly. Brother, I thought Mom and Dad would throw a big party for you. I didn't expect that you, like me, would also be lonely even on your birthday. Sure enough, Vincent sat beside me on the rock and gently asked, "You too?" I proactively shared the pain of my own biological family. Actually, I ran away to the Welfare Institute myself. From a young age, I didn't have a mother and lived with my father. My father was an alcoholic and often beat me. I remember on my 4th birthday, he beat me so brutally, he almost choked me to death. I don't know why, but I ran away when he wasn't looking and went straight to the Welfare Institute. As I spoke, I smiled, breathing a sigh of relief. Otherwise, I would have had bad luck on my 4th birthday. After arriving at the Welfare Institute, there were too many children to celebrate each one's birthday. "Brother, now that I have a new family, let's celebrate our birthdays together from now on, okay?" It turns out the supporting character's background is so tragic. She's also just a child with her own suffering. Vincent's false gentle demeanor finally showed a slight tremor. He nodded gently. "Okay." I tried to hold back my laughter. Vincent was as easily fooled as others. When I was 4, my father was still in prison. How could he have beaten me? Training a dog must be done according to each dog's personality. Clearly, Vincent was a very affection-starved and sensitive dog. Just giving him a little illusion of being loved would be enough to lead him where I wanted him to go. I searched my school bag and pulled out a packet of foul-smelling herbal medicine. "Brother, I often see your room light on late at night. Do you have trouble sleeping?" I waited a long time and asked a traditional Chinese medicine doctor for this prescription. "See if it works." I smiled innocently. "Just consider this my birthday gift to you." In fact, I was very stingy. Although the Shen family gave me 100,000 yuan in living expenses each month, I had other plans for that money. To give him a gift, I could only use some free medicine. What kind of look is Vincent Shen giving the supporting character? Why do I feel he's a little touched? Could it be that he's been affected? Upstairs, if someone remembered your birthday, bought you a small cake, and knew you had insomnia and got you medicine, could you remain calm? That's true. Moreover, he's dealing with an affection-starved dog. Vincent was silent for a moment, then suddenly asked me, "Mia, why are you so good to me?" I replied naturally, "You're good to me too, brother. I'm just returning the favor." He lowered his head, a hint of guilt in his eyes. I pretended not to notice, taking his hand to walk home. "Wow, brother's hand is so big." I curiously looked at him, opening my hand to compare sizes, my palm pressing against his. Vincent Shen had never had an opportunity to be this close to a girl in his entire life. Indeed, he was an inexperienced high school boy, so his face flushed crimson. The cold moonlight shone, highlighting his handsome face. I stood on tiptoes and whispered close to his ear, "Brother, your Adam's apple is moving. Can I touch it a little?" The moment I touched Vincent's Adam's apple, his body seemed to receive an electric shock. He widened his eyes, his entire body stiff, showing signs of instinctively wanting to pull back. I gently rubbed his neck with my warm fingers, lightly pressing the protruding spot. Vincent seemed extremely unaccustomed, but his feet were as if nailed, not moving. He only looked at me with slightly slanted eyes, the corners of his eyes tinged with a charming bright red. Save me? Why does Vincent Shen's expression look like he's enjoying it? Where is he playing with the supporting character? Clearly, the supporting character is playing with him. He even leaned in slightly to make it easier for the supporting character to touch him. Before, when I trained dogs, I often patted their heads. Even if they didn't like it, I'd still pat hard, turning my needs into the dog's habit. Then, when the dog was enjoying the petting, I'd suddenly pull my hand back. Just like now, I suddenly withdrew my hand. "Brother, I'm sorry, I was just a little curious and couldn't help but touch it. You're not angry with me, are you?" Even Vincent's earlobes were flushed, his cold eyes covered with a thin layer of mist, seemingly still lingering. After a long while, he came to his senses, coughing lightly. "It's fine. You go home first. I have something to do and can't go with you anymore." What something to do? Isn't it just that the supporting character teased him so much his legs went weak and he can't walk? I saw that he seemed to have pitched a tent at his Adam's apple. The second sensitive point for men, this is very normal. I put on an innocent, clueless expression, slung my school bag over my shoulder, and walked home. I checked my phone, which had been on silent, full of missed calls and unread messages from Asher. "It's late, why aren't you home? Mia, where did you go? Where are you?" It was then that I slowly replied to his message. "Just now, Brother Vincent was helping me catch up on my studies. I didn't check my messages. What's wrong?" The other side replied almost instantly. Mia, bye, you didn't message me for 3 hours just because you were with Vincent Shen? Did he deliberately sow discord, which is why you haven't been paying attention to me lately? I didn't answer his question but instead retorted, Brother Asher, you seem very impatient, don't you? Only 3 hours without contact with me and you're already this agitated. Opponent is typing, appeared at the top of the chat box, but after a long time, he still didn't reply. However, Asher posted on social media, this little girl has such cunning tricks, daring to fantasize about taming me. Too bad I've seen through her scheme. Tonight, I will lure her into making a mistake, then let mom and dad catch her in the act to easily kick her out of the house. The comments were also revealing the plot to me. Asher Gu, stimulated by the supporting character, was so ashamed and angry that he decided to execute his plan earlier. Tonight, he will use his charm to seduce the supporting character. After she uncontrollably falls for him, he will open the room door for Mrs. Shen to see the scene. Mrs. Shen, feeling that the supporting character has defiled the son she raised herself, will immediately kick the supporting character out of the house with nothing. Sure enough, Asher walked into my room. He had just showered, only wearing a black tank top, and strands of hair across his forehead were still dripping water. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, looking at me. Mia, let's talk a bit. Asher was the type of handsome guy with sharp, charming facial features. After showering, he deliberately lifted half of his shirt, his subtly defined abs even more alluring. He clearly understood his advantages, intentionally using that face to attract me, approaching me closely, and asking, Mia, what did Vincent Shen teach you today? Did he only teach you dry, boring topics? Brother will teach you other things. He was so proactive, it would be rude of me to refuse. So I smiled at him, closed the door, and waved him over. Oh, supporting character, why are you so uncontrolled? Weren't you so calm in front of Vincent Shen just now? Why are you so foolish now? Oh, will the supporting character still not escape her predetermined fate? Asher walked up to me, extending his hand as if to touch me, but I spoke first. Kneel down. Asher froze, looking at me in disbelief. Mia, what did you say? I took out an eye mask from a box. Brother Asher, kneel down, I'll help you put on the eye mask. His expression was blank, but after a moment of hesitation, he knelt on one knee. I took the opportunity to put on his eye mask, my 5 fingers tightening around his throat, looking down at him from above. Asher didn't like this subordinate posture, wanting to stand up to regain control. I was slightly annoyed. A slap landed on his face. Don't mess around. My 5-finger print immediately appeared on his face. He instantly fell silent, standing still, looking at me in confusion. Mia, what are you doing? Why are you different from what I imagined? I leisurely sat on the edge of the bed, lowering my head to glance at him, my thumb rubbing his collarbone. Didn't you say you wanted me to tame you? Well, I accept that offer. His body trembled slightly. I gently patted his cheek with the back of my hand, calling him, little puppy. Mia, don't call me that, it's too insulting. Asher lifted his head, still clinging to a shred of self-esteem. I chuckled, reaching out to pat his head. But Brother Asher, I really like little puppy. I've never called anyone else little puppy before. Don't you want this exclusive title? His expression flickered slightly, his face flushed, gritting his teeth as if he had made a decision. Then you can only call me that in private, not in front of others. Yes, sir. I stroked his hair, gently asking, so, little puppy, are you ready? His voice trembled but carried a barely concealed excitement. Ready for what? Soon after, Asher Gu's arrogant face bore many more fingerprints. Initially, he was a bit uncomfortable, but then he tilted his head, proactively pressing his face into my palm. Do you know why you have to wear an eye mask? His eyes were bound by the dazzling black eye mask, only revealing his red earlobes, as if about to bleed. Why? The joy of wearing an eye mask lies in this. Little puppy won't know where the next slap will land. Therefore, every part of the body feels excited. This is completely unlike what I imagined. Did Asher Gu forget his purpose tonight? Look at that worthless expression, so blissful he's lost his bearings. But earlier, he had scheduled a message to Mrs. Shen to be sent at 12 a.m., telling her to come to the supporting characters room. It was 11:59 p.m. now. Right after, footsteps suddenly echoed outside the door. Mrs. Shen knocked on the door and asked me, Mia, are you asleep yet? Mom has a jade pendant that's been missing for years. Just now, Asher sent Mom a message saying he found it and left it on your bedside table. Can you open the door for Mom for a moment? I lowered my head to look at Asher, who was kneeling on the floor, covered in slap marks. I reached out and removed his eye mask. How insidious, even intentionally calling someone over. Perfect timing, then let them see you now. He widened his eyes, staring in astonishment at himself in the vanity mirror, his face full of shame and indignation. As I moved to open the door, he clutched the hem of my shirt. No, please don't. I chuckled, pushing his hand away. Why not? We can't keep an adult waiting at the door. Saying that, I turned the doorknob. When Mrs. Shen entered, Asher Gu had already hidden in my closet. She politely asked a few questions about my recent situation, and as she spoke, she moved towards the bedside table. After picking up the emerald green jade pendant, she intended to leave, but the closet where Asher was hiding was right next to the bedside table. He was so panicked that he hadn't fully closed the closet door. Worse still, I had a habit of categorizing my belongings, and where he hid happened to be where I kept my personal underwear. The space inside was very small. He accidentally dropped a camisole to the floor. Mrs. Shen, sharp-eyed, saw it. She turned to me with a serious expression. Mia, no matter what habits you had at the Welfare Institute, now that you're home, you must follow family rules. Everything must be neat and tidy, placed in its proper spot. Saying that, she frowned, evaluating my closet. Let Mom see if it's messy inside. Her hand pressed on the closet door, intending to push it open. How could Asher Gu's appearance at this moment meet anyone? The supporting character's clothes are unwrinkled, but he's a mess, wearing a tank top, his face covered in slap marks, and appearing in the supporting character's closet. It's clear he has bad intentions. Asher's face turned pale with fear. The closet door was being pushed open little by little. I leisurely observed. Just then, Mrs. Shen's phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the message and quickly left without another word. After she was gone, I locked the door and opened the closet. The person inside was drenched in sweat from fright. Mia, why did you open the door? Just now my mom almost… I cut him off. She won't. Asher was slightly stunned. Won't what? She won't see you. I smiled, squeezing into the closet. That message just now was sent by me using another phone. She's busy looking for your dad right now. She doesn't have time to open the closet door. I reached out and stroked Asher Gu's messy hair. So, little puppy, don't be scared. No one will see little puppy like this. Asher looked at me, his dark eyes clear and sparkling, the emotions surging within them too intense. I raised my index finger and gently pressed it against his lips. Does this spot want a kiss? He froze for a moment, then instinctively lowered his head and brought his lips closer to mine. Is Asher Gu's first kiss about to be lost? No way. Does he really like the supporting character? Then what will happen when the female lead appears? The supporting character just gave a slap and now a candy. How can Asher Gu escape? He closed his eyes, waiting for me to press my lips against his, but I didn't move, just looked at his restless expression, half smiling, half not. After a long while, seeing that I still hadn't made a move, Asher realized I was teasing him. His face flushed, and he abruptly stood up from the closet, fleeing my room as if escaping. He arrived with such flair, but left in such a hurry. Asher Gu returned to his room, still clutching his face, reminiscing. What kind of person have I trained him into? But in the following days, Asher seemed to avoid me. This was very normal. After all, before accepting a master, a dog must go through a struggle of ideology. It was even better if he didn't bother me. I took the opportunity to find Vincent Shen. My academic performance was actually very good, but English dragged me down too much, especially since I wanted to study abroad. Vincent was good at English, and these past few days, he had been helping me correct my pronunciation. After today's tutoring session, I placed a candy in his palm. Brother, I'm offering you candy. Vincent frowned. I knew he hated sweets, but I pretended not to understand anything. I just stared at him blankly. Why isn't brother eating it? Shall I feed you? But as soon as I moved closer, he turned his face away, his breathing noticeably heavier. I peeled the candy wrapper, curiously asking him, Brother, your breathing is so heavy. Are you nervous because I'm too close? Why be nervous? I'm not. As soon as he opened his mouth, I popped the hard strawberry-flavored candy into his mouth, smiling brightly at him. I'm just teasing you. Brother, I know you don't like candy, but if you're unhappy, eating sweets can make you feel much better. Vincent was slightly stunned. How do you know I'm unhappy? Because when brother is unhappy, you constantly flick your lighter. Today, in 2 hours, you flicked it 16 times. You must be in a bad mood. Vincent lowered his head, looking at the silver lighter in his palm, and suddenly asked me, Mia, do you care about me a lot? I didn't answer but threw the question back at him. So, brother, do you hope I care about you? Vincent flicked his lighter again. After a long moment, he spoke, changing the subject. Before I came to the Shen family, I lived in the countryside. My adoptive father had a terrible temper. Every day, he smoked several packs of cigarettes, and whenever he was unhappy, he would burn me with cigarette butts. Later, when I was a little older, burning me with cigarette butts wasn't enough to satisfy him anymore. He liked to use a lighter to burn me, making me cry and beg for forgiveness. Only when my skin was red and blistered would he stop. Vincent laughed self-deprecatingly. I don't know why, but now, whenever I'm upset, I like to hear the lighter click open and close repeatedly, as if reminding myself of the suffering I endured during those days. Thinking that way, everything is fine now. He was exposing his raw wounds to me. I took the lighter from his hand. Then next time you're upset, try a different way to deal with it. For example, confide in me. Brother, actually, I can guess why you're unhappy today. He was a bit surprised. Although you still ranked first this time, the gap in points with the second-place person isn't large. You feel you didn't perform well, but brother, you're already very good. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Mom and dad love you because you're their son, not because of your achievements. Blood relation is a natural bond. Their affection for Asher doesn't mean they don't love you. Every little puppy has moments of low spirits. They long to be seen, comforted, and understood. And this is also the best time to tame a little puppy. I smiled at him. In my heart, brother, you're super talented. No general wins every battle. You must learn to adapt to all outcomes. Try to adapt quickly, okay? This time, my English score was only 60, yet I still ranked third overall. Wait until I improve my English score, and your first place won't be yours anymore. Vincent was unaware of the small calculations in my heart. He lowered his eyes, looking intently at me. I suddenly remembered something important. The teacher needs to order class uniforms for the new school year and told us to report our waist measurements. Brother, what's your waist size? I'll fill it out for you. Vincent said he wasn't sure of the exact measurement. Conveniently, there was a measuring tape in the drawer, so I immediately helped him measure it on the spot. I wrapped the tape measure around him, my 2 hands tightening around his waist. The distance was too close. Through a few thin layers of clothing, I could even feel the heat radiating from his lower abdomen. Although Vincent didn't have firm abs like Asher, he had the characteristic slenderness of a teenager. There was no excess fat on him at all. This close, our bodies are almost touching. The supporting character's self-control is truly good. This is peak handsomeness. If it were me, I would have lost control long ago. Vincent Shen's physique is also too perfect. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, curved hips. Who could resist? A bunch of gluttons, as soon as it comes to that, they forget all about family background, gender differences, or life pressures. I was still struggling to confirm whether Vincent's waist was 75 or 76. He suddenly held my hands tightly, asking in a hoarse voice, Mia, are you deliberately teasing me? I am inherently honest, so I nodded very truthfully. Yes. My free hand rested on his Adam's apple, my thumb pressing firmly. So, brother, was I successful? Vincent closed his eyes, his Adam's apple rolling down twice beneath my palm. I heard his voice turn hoarse. But you're not just teasing me. Oh, are you talking about Asher? I smiled and shook my head. I'm not like that with him. If you don't believe me, go ask him if I've ever used this tone with him. Brother, you're different. I stood on tiptoes, the corner of my lips lightly brushing his Adam's apple. At least this he's never enjoyed. Vincent's breathing grew more rapid. After a moment, he leaned down and whispered to me, Mia, why do I feel like you're playing with me? He said that, but he grabbed my wrist, took a step closer, backing me against the wall. He leaned down, as if about to kiss my lips, but I knew he couldn't. I saw someone angrily push open the glass door and rush in. I finally thought things through, came back, and found my house robbed. Vincent Shen, you truly are trash, a professional wall digger and fence climber. Asher pulled Vincent Shen away from me, punching him hard in the face. Wall digger and fence climber, has she ever been with you? Vincent didn't back down, aiming squarely for his face. At least she talked to me first. She called me little puppy. Did she call you that? She even kissed my Adam's apple. Did she kiss you like that? The two fought fiercely in front of me. Before I had many dogs, they also fought to compete for affection. Just like now, both were trying their best, only focused on how to hurt the other. I pulled out a chair, took out my test papers, and started doing my homework. Outside the window, the sky was pitch black. After I finished a math problem and checked the answers, they finally stopped. Both were bruised and swollen with quite a few new injuries. I smiled at them. Done fighting. Asher was still angry, wiping blood from the corner of his mouth with the back of his hand. Mia, don't be fooled by him. He's cunning and full of bad intentions. Vincent sneered. At least it's better than someone with a simple mind and developed limbs like you. Seeing them about to fight again, I sighed. Go ahead, keep fighting. Anyway, I'm leaving the Shen family tonight and returning to the Welfare Institute. Fight however you want. Both immediately stopped, turning to look at me in astonishment. Do you know why your parents adopted me? I explained to them that it was because they fought all day long. They hoped that after I arrived, their attention would focus on dealing with me, thus reducing their quarrels. Now, look how it is. You two are fighting like this because of me. If your parents see, they'll definitely send me back to the Welfare Institute immediately. I packed my school bag, smiling, but also thinking, this just happens to fulfill your wishes. Asher asked me blankly, what do you mean? Why pretend? I said indifferently without lifting my head. Didn't you two just want to drive me away? Didn't you intentionally try to seduce me into making a mistake? Now that I'm leaving, it seems your goals have been achieved. Vincent held my hand tightly. You know everything. Know what? That my brothers want to play with my feelings. I pulled my hand away from his, slung my school bag over my shoulder, and prepared to leave. But on second thought, I still reminded Vincent. Your digestion isn't good. Remember to take your stomach medicine on time. And you, I turned to look at Asher, who was staring blankly at me. You have a hot temper. I've prepared bruise medicine for you. Remember to use it if you get hurt. Goodbye, brothers. But almost simultaneously, both of them stopped me. Mia, I admit I didn't have good intentions at first, but now I truly, truly want to be your little puppy. Asher leaned close to my ear, lowering his voice. Vincent placed my hand on his neck, answering my previous question. You've successfully teased me. I am completely defeated. Brothers, stop saying such cheesy things. Instead, think about how to explain the injuries on your faces to Mom and Dad. That evening, both parents were home. Seeing the two of them with bruised faces, footprints all over them, and torn clothes, their expressions immediately changed. You two are fighting again? Haven't things been peaceful for over a month now? What's it about this time? Mrs. Shen finished speaking, not forgetting to glance at me, her expression extremely displeased. You were there too. Why didn't you stop them? I wasn't just present, I was also the fuse for their fight. Before I could speak, Asher put his arm around Vincent's shoulder. Mom, don't talk nonsense. Brother and I weren't fighting. For some reason, he got into trouble with some thugs and got jumped. I got hurt trying to save him. But don't worry, Mom and Dad, I've taught those guys a lesson. They won't dare bully him anymore. Mr. Shen looked at Vincent suspiciously. Is that true? Vincent also put his arm around Asher's shoulder, pretending to be harmonious brothers, telling a blatant lie. Yes, it's true. Luckily, Asher came to save me in time. Mrs. Shen was a little surprised. But weren't you two always like oil and water? When did your relationship get so good? This is all thanks to Mia. Vincent looked at me, smiling. Mia told Asher and me that we're brothers from different fathers and mothers, and she always advises us to get along. Exactly, Asher quickly added. Mia says wonderful things about him to me every day. I think having a brother is actually pretty good. The two spoke affectionately, but their hands secretly pressed hard on each other's wounds. Mrs. Shen was very pleased, quickly telling someone to get medicine for them, then pulled me aside and praised my good manners at length. Mr. Shen generously told me I did a very good job, directly transferring 1 million yuan to me. The supporting character, who had trained dogs for so many years, finally received her first dog training fee. This could be considered finding a new path to wealth. An archenemy transformed into a love rival, how is that not a step forward? That evening, I returned to my room, locked the door, and was happily admiring my account balance when a message from Vincent Shen popped up. If you want to play, you can play with me. My IQ is higher than Asher Gu's, it will be much more interesting. I was in a very good mood today. I replied to his message. Brother, I just gave you a new nickname. Border Collie, I asked Vincent Shen. Border Collie is my favorite dog breed. Do you like this nickname? he replied. I like it. Isn't she calling him a dog? Why is he still so happy? Supporting character, start a class. I want to learn how to train dogs too. Amidst the countless comments, one stood out. Supporting character? What's the point of being so smug now? A supporting character is always a supporting character. She can never become the main character. The female lead is about to appear. When she shows up, the male leads will all flock to her. Whether it's Vincent, Shen, or Asher Gu, the supporting character won't be able to have either of them. Through scattered comments, I could roughly piece together the course of events. A transfer student named Sophie was about to arrive at school. She was a grade below us, beautiful with good grades, but from a poor family. According to the plot, Vincent, Shen, and Asher Gu would both uncontrollably fall in love with her. Asher Gu would step up to protect Sophie when she was bullied at school. Vincent Shen would directly provide for her, helping her gather tuition fees and treat her seriously ill mother. Sophie would waver between the two brothers, eventually unable to abandon either, and propose a polyamorous relationship. After a long period of entanglement and emotional turmoil, Asher Gu and Vincent Shen would reach an agreement to jointly possess the female lead. After reading this story, I gritted my teeth and spat into the trash can, truly vulgar and lowly. But the comments weren't wrong. Sophie would be transferring next week. Out of curiosity, I secretly went to take a look at Sophie. She was a very cute girl, with her hair tied in a high ponytail and 2 shallow dimples when she smiled. Exactly the standard female lead appearance. What is the supporting character doing, secretly looking at the female lead? The dogs she painstakingly tamed are about to find new owners. How can she not go and see what the new owner looks like? Will she deliberately make things difficult for the supporting character? Probably not. I was only focused on quickly snatching Vincent Shen's top-of-the-class position. Moreover, if a dog changes owners so easily, it proves it's not a good dog, and it wouldn't be a pity to discard it. But contrary to the comments' predictions, Asher Gu stuck to me all day long during this time. Mia, little puppy wants to be petted. Please pet me. Or how about you slap me? What came before his slap was a fragrant scent. For some unknown coincidence, this scene was witnessed by Sophie. She frowned, looking at me. Mia bai, how can you humiliate a classmate like that, making him your dog? For a moment, I didn't know how to answer. After Vincent Shen tutored me in pronunciation as a reward, I put a leather collar around his neck. Sophie appeared again. She pointed at me, angrily saying that I didn't respect my classmates. This was just due to her female lead attributes, leaning a bit towards righteousness. It felt like the male leads had no affection for the female lead at all. The plot is wrong. Tonight, Sophie will be bullied at school, but Asher Gu is still with the supporting character. How can there be a hero saves the beauty scene anymore? I dropped my school bag, waved to Asher Gu. Hurry up, follow me. When I arrived, Sophie was locked in the bathroom. A few people were scooping cold water into wooden buckets, intending to splash Sophie. In the cold winter, getting drenched like that would surely make her sick. I stepped forward, holding the arm of the ringleader of the bullying. Mia bai, what does it have to do with you if I bully her? He glared at me indignantly. Don't think that just because you're adopted by the Shen family, you can do whatever you want. You might even be sent back to the welfare home without knowing it. Get lost if you know what's good for you. All right, I'm very sensible. I took 2 steps back. In their smug eyes, I pulled Asher Gu into the girls' bathroom. I'm leaving this to you. Asher Gu was a bit stunned at first. After clearly seeing the situation inside, he cursed and directly dumped the bucket of water over the head of the bullying leader. His physical strength was very good. He was always a tough guy in fights. I believed he could handle it. Sure enough, a moment later, he walked out, ordering those people to apologize to Sophie. Sophie's eyes were red, indicating she was quite frightened. She lingered for a bit, then returned to the plot. The female lead is staring intently at Asher Gu. Has she fallen for him? The female lead's eyes are red like a little bunny. Don't talk about Asher Gu, even I felt pity. But after everyone dispersed, she walked past Asher Gu directly in front of me and bowed. Thank you. Huh, I didn't hit them. I pointed at Asher Gu. He hit them. Sophie didn't even look at Asher Gu, she just looked at me. You told him to help me, so the person I should thank is still you. I smiled at her. It's nothing, I just don't like seeing others being bullied. When I first came to the Welfare Institute, the old director was still in charge, and the atmosphere there was very bad. I was bullied by older kids, covered in bruises. But I was very smart and quickly learned the rules of survival at the Welfare Institute. I was never beaten again. It's just that I developed this habit of not being able to stand by when I see injustice. I know it's because I'm too poor that they bully me. I interrupted Sophie, taking out the tube of ointment I had prepared for Asher Goo and gently applying it to the bruise on her cheek with my fingertip. Those people bully you not because there's something wrong with you, but because they bully the weak. What I mean is, think about others more. Don't torture yourself, and especially don't be self-pitying. Sophie left a long while later. Asher Goo still looked at me, his eyes shining brightly. Mia, you're really good. I called him home, casually asking, good in what way? He said something unrelated. When I was 14, in my rebellious phase, I suddenly found out I was the fake young master. My biological parents had passed away long ago, and Vincent Shen was kidnapped and sold to a village, living a very hard life. At that time, I was so scared that my parents wouldn't want me anymore. Do you know what I felt the first time I saw Vincent Shen? He chuckled. He told me honestly that it was envy. He looked so much like Mom, it was clear at first glance that he was their child. And he grew up in such circumstances yet was still so outstanding. I suddenly felt very inferior, trying every way to cause trouble with him, wanting to prove I was better than him. If I could have met you then, if someone had told me not to torture myself, perhaps the relationship between Vincent and me wouldn't have been so bad. He jumped around incessantly. I found it noisy, so I stuffed the leftover egg tart from lunch into his mouth. Is this a reward for serving me today? I remembered he was very picky, only eating freshly made strawberry cream cakes, yet at this moment, he ate my egg tart clean. I originally didn't want to interfere with Sophie's matters, but she kept appearing before my eyes. I couldn't stand idly by. To earn tuition fees, Sophie works part-time at a bubble tea shop every evening. After work, she still has to do homework, constantly lacking sleep. According to the plot, tonight she will encounter thugs at the shop. Vincent Shen will appear in time and offer to provide for her. Oh no, Vincent Shen is currently with the supporting character. I sighed. If I didn't know, it would be one thing, but now that I know, I can't not get involved. Brother, I don't want to deal with thugs. Come with me to save someone. I arrived a step late, but Vincent Shen didn't need to act. This time, Sophie directly wielded a stick and chased the thugs away. When I arrived, the shop was closed and she was cleaning up the mess. I casually found a vacant spot and sat down. Let's talk, okay? Sophie was very well behaved, sitting neatly opposite me. I went straight to the point. You're only in 11th grade. Working part-time wastes time, affects your grades, and doesn't earn you much money. What is the supporting character doing? Deliberately coming to humiliate the female lead. The supporting character's personality isn't like that, so why is she saying these things? Quit your job, I'll cover your remaining high school tuition. Your mother is seriously ill and needs treatment, right? I'll give you 200,000 yuan for medical expenses. Sophie's pupils immediately widened. Why are you helping me? High school students should focus on their studies. As for your mother's situation, I said, biting my bubble tea straw, because I can empathize. My mother loved me very much. Unfortunately, she suffered from a severe illness and passed away because we had no money for treatment. At that time, I thought how wonderful it would be if someone could help me with that money. But this money isn't a gift, you know. I lightly tapped her head. After you graduate from university and earn money, remember to pay me back, with interest too. Sophie's eyes shone brightly as she looked at me for a long time, her heart seemingly filled with countless unspoken words, but 1,000 thoughts finally condensed into a single, thank you. Actually, I didn't want to manage her affairs, but she was right in front of me. I couldn't just stand by. Leaving the bubble tea shop, Vincent Shen, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up. Didn't you say you didn't have a mother since you were little? Why did you say your mother loved you very much? I was just about to ask. Didn't these words contradict what the supporting character said earlier? In the supporting character's mouth, which statement is true since they're all lies anyway? Goose feathers of snow fluttered in the sky. I walked backward, reminiscing about the past. I had both a father and a mother. My mother was a great beauty and my father was also very handsome. Our family was once very happy and harmonious. Vincent looked at me, shaking his head. I don't believe it. It really was very harmonious, at least before my father had an affair. After giving birth to me, my mother's figure changed, and she developed stretch marks. My father then went to find another woman. My mother, at times, loved me very much and at times hated my existence because it drove her and my father apart. She had schizophrenia. When she was normal, she treated me like a treasure. When she was unhappy, she would smash a wine bottle on my head. So I often thought how good it would be if I didn't have a mother, rather than having one from a young age. But when she actually passed away, I still felt quite sad. I reached out to catch a snowflake. The translucent snowflake melted into water as soon as it fell into my palm, just like the fragile maternal love between my mother and me. Later, she finally hated the right person, taking a knife to attack my father. During the struggle, she was stabbed to death by my father, and my father went to prison. I remember my mother died right before my eyes. Through that glass door, I saw blood gush out. My mother used her last bit of strength to tilt her head and look towards me, and in her eyes, finally, glimmered the maternal love I could clearly see. After that, I became an orphan. It's fine not to mention the old days. I'm living very well now. I looked up at the swirling snowflakes, excitedly spinning in a circle. This is the first snow of the year. Vincent Shen watched me from behind, saying nothing, lowering his head to fiddle with his phone. Soon after, I received a 3 million yuan transfer message. I was puzzled. Why are you suddenly transferring money to me? So much time has passed. There's nothing I can do to compensate for your childhood misfortune, but at least giving you money might make you happy now. He was still smart, knowing how to win me over. In the snowy weather, I looked at him and smiled. Smart little puppy. Come here, I'll give you a reward. I originally thought Sophie's matter would subside, but unexpectedly, after only a few days, she aggressively appeared before me again. At that time, I had just walked out of the library with Vincent Shen when I ran into Asher. Asher angrily asked me, Mia, didn't you say I was your only little puppy? Yes. What's wrong? He pointed at Vincent Shen and asked, then why did you give him the nickname Border Collie? I glanced at Vincent Shen, who was nonchalantly flipping through a book, but the corner of his eye was glancing at me. Don't worry, he's not a dog. A dog is a dog, a border collie is a border collie. Asher was about to say something else when, from some corner, Sophie suddenly rushed out. Her complexion was much better today. The dark circles under her eyes were no longer as heavy as before. It was just that she suddenly aggressively stood between me, Vincent Shen, and Asher. Can you please stop making them your dogs? Isn't she the female lead? Why is she like this? The supporting character clearly helped her, so is it really necessary to write the female lead as so foolish and annoying? Is the female lead going to criticize her again for humiliating classmates? The next second, Sophie linked her arm through mine, looking up at me. Don't I look like a little puppy? Huh, I didn't react in time, answering truthfully. You look quite like a bitch on fries. Then, big sister, do you like bitch on fries? I nodded. Of course, as long as they're good dogs, I like them all. Then, she took a deep breath, mustering all her courage to ask me, can I be your little puppy? I'm more obedient and well-behaved than those men, and girls understand girls better, right? I admit, what I said before was very fake. Being your dog isn't an insult, it's clearly a reward. Supporting character, well done. Dog training has no gender distinction. In just a few short months, you've captured 3 people. Truly, you've captured them all. I support the female lead and supporting character being together. I stared at her blankly, watching Sophie rummage through her school bag, pulling out a handmade white lace collar. Here, big sister, can you put it on for me? Asher immediately became alert. Bitch on fries is also a dog. I said little puppy is my exclusive title. Vincent Shen said nothing, just kept flicking his lighter on and off, his inky black eyes fixed on me. Sophie tugged at my sleeve. Please, big sister, put it on me. This time, my final exam score improved by 15 ranks. Consider it recognition for me, okay? I'm not good at refusing girls. After hesitating for a moment, I conceded. All right then, little bitch on fries, come here. Vincent Shen's top-of-the-class position was quickly snatched by me. After graduating from high school, I, as desired, went to my dream university in England. Sophie was reluctant to part with me, crying miserably. I wiped her tears. So, you must study hard and strive to continue being my junior. Don't worry about tuition, I'll sponsor you. I was very rich now. Asher and Vincent Shen pretended to have a deep brotherly bond every day in front of Mr. and Mrs. Shen. They were extremely pleased with me. my monthly allowance directly increased tenfold. Asher Goo stuffed all kinds of snacks into my suitcase and also told me to ask him if I ever needed anything. He would send it to me. Vincent Shen was very quiet. He silently tucked US dollars and British pounds into my other suitcase. They still remembered their original bet, to see who would win me first. The bet was the mansion in the suburbs of Kingdom. Since both failed, that mansion was transferred to my name. Outside, the golden sun was radiant and beautiful scenery awaited me to enjoy. I ventured alone into a foreign land. Those who remained here, of course, became the past. Asher Goo was very clingy, constantly texting me in our chat box. As for Vincent Shen, if he wanted to find me, he would usually transfer money directly with a note saying, "Voluntary gift." Clearly, the border collie's IQ was a bit higher than the little puppies. Sophie's academic performance improved significantly, no longer like the script where she would neglect her studies due to wavering between the two men, becoming a sheltered canary. She was perfectly capable of shielding herself. As for me, perhaps in her story, I am a supporting character, but in my own life, I am absolutely the main character. The chat box just received 3 new messages. Bitch on fries, big sister, I got second place overall in the grade. I'm sure one day I'll stand by your side again. Border collie, transfer of 5,201,314. Voluntary gift. Little puppy, Mia, I'm flying over to visit you in 2 days. Selfie JPG, does master like it? I replied to each message one by one. To bitch on fries, good, I'll wait for you, remember about paying me back though. To border collie, money received.